Hey guys, if you're shopping for knives and gear, make sure you check out the description of the video you're watching right now for a link to my Amazon store where I've compiled some of the very best knives and gear. There's a whole bunch of different categories, including some of my own personal recommendations. There's something down here for everybody, so make sure you take a look. Thanks! What's going on, YouTube? Metal Complex here, and today I've got another interesting knife review / knife overview to do with you guys. It's going to be a little bit of a short one considering what it is. This is the CIVIVI Knives Kiri EDC fixed blade, or neck knife really is what it is. Now, first off, I want to let you guys know, my channel is pretty much 100% dedicated to looking at a bladed object in terms of everyday utility. That's basically what I do on this channel. Given what this knife is and what its design purpose likely, is, what it was intended for, at least partially, I'm not going to be able to give you, some people, exactly the type of review that they're looking for. So just so everybody knows before we get started, I don't want to waste anybody's time. I'm going to be talking about this knife in terms of an everyday tool that you carry on your person in a different way than you would a folding knife, right? A folding knife goes in your pocket. A neck knife, while you can place it in your pocket when the sheath, it's more so meant to be worn around your neck, like a neck knife. So that's how we're going to be doing this review. You can pick this knife up in the description. I will give a link. There are two variants of this knife. There's this tumbled version you're seeing here, and then there's more of a black wash version, so you can check it out if you want to. This is a CIVIVI knife, so it is not made in the United States. It's made in China. This knife was provided by the Apex Passhorn Group, so by extension, the manufacturer CIVIVI. Thank you so much, CIVIVI. Real quick, just want to say thank you again to all of my wonderful patrons. Thank you so much for supporting me during this time. That is greatly, greatly appreciated. If you want to get your hands on those stickers, support this channel, and at the same time gain access to my exclusive content, there is a link for Patreon right down in the description. The support would mean the world to me. Let's go ahead and get a measurement on this guy. Let me move that chain out of the way. We'll talk about that here in a second. Overall length of the Kiri EDC is coming in at, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, by the way. It's a little over 5 inches, coming in at 5.1. Yeah, 5.1 inches. The actual cutting edge on this guy is under, it's like 1.75 inches on the dot. I do not know how to legally measure this knife. Technically, the blade length is, the sharpened edge is right here. So I'm going to say be careful with this knife depending on where you live. If you live somewhere like Kansas, like in Kansas, I know that, this is something that can be carried. But in a lot of places, for a lot of different reasons, and probably depending on the scenario, you could get in trouble with this. So be careful and make sure you know your knife laws in your local area before you pick something like this up, because this, first and foremost, will probably be viewed as a weapon by an officer, so just be careful with that. Let's go ahead and do some size comparisons here real quick. Up against the Ontario Rat Model 1. Ooh, that was ugly. Let's do that again. Got to keep my rep up. Rat 1 coming in at 8.6 inches overall. How about up against the Spyderco PM2? Spyderco PM2 coming in at 8.3 inches overall. How about up against the Benchmade Griptilian, or in this case, the Ritter Hogue? Ritter Hogue coming in at 8 inches overall. And last but not least, the Spyderco Para 3. Para 3 coming in at 7.25 inches overall. So how's the action on this guy? Just kidding. Really, how we're going to do action is, considering it's going to be hanging from your neck, having this thing on my neck, I'm going to try and, emulate how the tension, I guess, on my neck. Just giving it a good pull. The nice thing is there's plenty of retention with the neck knife. Part of the reason that I have never carried a neck knife as an EDC knife is because I'm just more comfortable with my knife in my pocket. But I know that there are plenty of people out there who prefer to carry a neck knife just for EDC, and that's perfectly acceptable. If you're comfortable with it, the nice thing about this, what I can say, is that there is plenty of retention in that. I don't think there's any way that's going to shake out of that sheath. The retention is really good, but it doesn't take too much effort to pull it out. If you really want to pull that thing out, it's going to come out of there, right? But it's also going to stay in there despite being larger than a normal neck knife. I guess speaking from no experience other than just looking at them online, I would say that this is a little larger than a normal neck knife. Yeah, it's definitely going to come out of there, and the retention seems good. The quality of the sheath looks good as well. There is a little drainage hole down there, and it just sort of slips in, and right here, it just clicks into place. It's held firmly in place. I mean, that's pretty much all that would be required of this. It comes with a simple chain, right? I mean, these things are not things that are going to last super long. I mean, if anything, the truth is the retention on a Kydex sheath like this, even if it's good, I worry about maybe the durability of the chain. You know, this is a simple, it's just like the little connecting beads chain, right? If you're wearing a t-shirt that's, I mean, if you wear a shirt that's tucked into your pants and you wear this underneath it, if for whatever reason that chain breaks, right, then you're gonna know, because it's gonna fall to the bottom of your shirt and get trapped where it's, you know, tucked into your pants, right? But if you're just wearing a t-shirt and you're running around moving around, there's a chance that if that chain does break for whatever reason, it's unlikely, but if it does, you might not notice that it fell out. That's part of the reason why I don't carry stuff like this. So maybe put your own chain on there, something that you know, is a little bit more dependable. I don't know. That's just my natural instinct picking this up, is that I would be worried about this, but I could be wrong. I don't EDC stuff like this, so take that with a grain of salt. I might not know what I'm talking about. But yeah, I'm happy with the sheath and how well it stays in there. Overall thickness on this guy, I believe, is about 1/5 of an inch. Let's go ahead and measure it here real quick. Yeah, 158 thousandths there, I think, which is, it's nice because the durability is definitely there. This is made out of 9CR 18 MOV, a steel that I do not have a lot of experience with. There was about 6 months to a year ago, if you were to ask me, like, what's your opinion of 9CR, right there, about, oh, it's one of those CR steels. I don't know, you know, 8CR I've heard is okay, but I don't really know. So there are a lot of CR steels, you know, and I forget what the numbers mean, truthfully, but 8CR 13 MOV, 8CR 14 MOV, this 9CR 18 MOV, some of the steels around there, some of these higher numbers, a lot of people seem to really like. I know that CIVIVI uses a lot of 9CR 18 MOV, and the reports from the community are that 9CR 18 MOV sharpens up nicely, takes a good edge. It's stainless. It's fairly tough. It's a good EDC steel. Considering the price on this guy and the reports that I've heard, that's all that I can go on, I'd say, yeah, it's perfectly acceptable, you know, for the price of this item. So I'm happy with that. But there is plenty of durability. This is not the type of bladed object that is going to be made for, like, skinning grapes or doing, but you can do some fine cut work. In fact, I mean, what I would use this for are simple draw cuts, right? I mean, this is no problem package opener. It's shaped like a utility box cutter, right? It drops pretty, you know, it has to drop pretty aggressively towards this edge, considering where the flat of this is like the entire thing. And then you can see there, it just takes this dramatic drop towards the cutting edge. Everything is nicely done, but it's not super duper thin behind the edge. And I don't think it's necessarily made to be, because this isn't supposed to be like a high-end premium ultra, you know, surgical precision cutting tool. It's meant to be a utilitarian bladed object with a secondary function in self-defense, I would imagine. But in terms of just a bladed object that you can use for EDC, cutting open packages, right, it's going to do just fine. I particularly appreciate where the lines of it are. You can see there that my hand actually does fold nicely. All of my fingers fall perfectly. You can see how it's molded, right? Index, middle fingers, pinky, it all just goes right in there, right? But the truth is I'm really rarely going to hold it like this, right? It's probably going to be something I hold like this, or probably like this. This right here, this is the most comfortable position for me, and where I would likely hold it if I was doing pretty much anything with it, right? Opening packages, draw cuts, things like that. So I appreciate that. Yeah, so ergonomics, I guess, is in there too. In terms of carry profile, I mean, it's different than a folding knife, so it doesn't make any sense to do my usual, because, you know, it's a thin, lightweight object, but it hangs around your neck, so we're in different territory here. It is kind of a roomy object to put under your shirt. No matter what you're wearing, it's almost certainly going to be obvious that there's something under your shirt, right? And not only to you, but everybody around you, it's this thing that's like 5 inches long. It's got this triangle. It's you know, it's going to look funny. And unless you're really used to wearing a neck knife, you're probably going to notice it. Now, as far as neck knives I've seen go, this is on the larger side, but it's not huge. In fact, I mean, let's go ahead and weigh it. We'll weigh both with the sheath and without it, or with the Kydex and without it. So the entire thing's coming in at 2.19 ounces. That's basically nothing. Even hanging off my neck, I don't think it would be that big of a deal. And then the object itself, or the tool itself, weighs 1.55 ounces. So it's not, I mean, I'm hesitant to say not bad, because again, I'm not a neck knife expert, but 2.5 ounces hanging off my neck is different than 2.5 ounces in the pocket, right? It's just a different feeling. You're probably going to know that it's there, but like most things, you will likely adapt to it if you really want to carry it. A benefit of carrying a neck knife in terms of utility is it frees up both pockets. There have definitely been times where I'm like, I got stuff and I got to put them on my pockets, but I dedicate one pocket to a knife, right? So I basically have my left pocket, my 2 back pockets. Everybody knows it's not comfortable to have stuff in your left. Usually have your phone in your right or left pocket and your knife in your other pocket. Some other stuff may be in there. And then your wallet's in one of those pockets. That alone is I'm already kind of, there's a lot of stuff in my pockets, right? It sucks to have all 4 pockets filled up. But the nice thing is with this around your neck, you have 2 freed up pockets for whatever, right? More knives, right? No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, so I suppose that is a benefit. This is going to be a quick review because there's no reason to do a hardware check, though I will still plug these. You can pick these up down in knife maintenance. They're super handy and blah, blah, blah. The finish on the blade is sort of a tumbled. It's not really bead blasted. It kind of at first looks bead blasted, but it is tumbled. It looks nice. All edges are completely rounded off. There's really nothing pointy except for back here, which is a bottle opener. Now, initially I looked at this and I thought, if I was going to open a bottle with this, the blade's going to run in my hand. Somebody in a live stream goes, well, put it back in the sheath. Obviously, you're going to use this as a bottle opener. You put it back in the sheath. That's kind of cool. I like that it's got a bottle opener on there. It kind of makes me want there to be a flathead or a pry bar on the other end, right? I mean, it would almost be compelling, right? The bottle opener feature I wouldn't use very much, but, if it had a flathead on there, this area back here, maybe, I don't know, that might make it a little bit uncomfortable if you're holding it like this or really pushing it into your palm. It might make it a little uncomfortable. So maybe I don't know what I'm talking about, but it seems like however you're going to hold this, it really was considered where somebody might hold it. And look, I'm going to guess it probably is, for self-defense people out there, which are going to be able to speak to this way better than me because I don't know anything about it, right? I'm going to guess if it came down to it and there was nothing else, this would serve that purpose as well as I would expect any other object of this nature to perform in that. Listen to me trying to get around the dialogue. I'm sure it'll do just fine. I appreciate that it just says CIVIVI on this side, and then on the other side, it shows the blade steel, and that's pretty much it, right? This is a very straightforward, simple object that is obviously, in my opinion, its main purpose is utility, and it has a secondary function as something you might defend yourself with, right? And then, well, actually, secondary bottle opener, and then third, last-ditch effort, to defend yourself with, whatever. I appreciate that they've got these large openings here that are obviously taking away excess weight while still keeping the structural integrity intact. It's obviously something that's going to be very durable. It's not likely you're going to break this thing. The benefit, again, to carrying this over a folding knife, beyond everything that I've talked about, is that it is one solid piece of metal. So it's still going to be more durable than pretty much any folding knife, right? Because the weakest point in a folding knife is the pivot. This does not have a pivot. It's a small fixed blade. In a lot of situations, I can completely understand why somebody might opt for something like this over a folding knife. But again, the implications of it, if you get in the wrong situation, it doesn't look as innocent as a regular folding knife, even if your intentions for carrying it were completely innocent. So it is something you have to think about. The other thing is here, price. And again, this is really hard for me to speak to. There are, just like folding knives, there are expensive neck knives and there are inexpensive neck knives. This bladed object is made out of steel that many would welcome and do welcome completely in the price range that it's in. But there's far less intricacy that goes into this from a manufacturing standpoint. Just looking at it, I'm like, yeah, that doesn't take as much to create as a folding knife. Here's a folding knife that costs roughly the same. You have way more parts. You've got more pieces that are milled to fit the object, right? There's more moving parts. There's a lot more of a process that goes into it. Yet these are both about the same price. This comes in at about, something around $40. CIVIVI's got a lot of really great folding knives that are 40 to 50 bucks, right? The CIVIVI Praxis, one of the greatest folding knives ever. I think I have that. It's right here. The CIVIVI Praxis, though it's kind of not something that's readily available right now, is an excellent folding knife, but there's a lot more that went into this than what goes into the Kiri EDC. if this thing was about 20 bucks, I'd be like, yeah, sure, knock yourself out. You know, 40 bucks, you know, if you're really into neck knives, go for it. I don't know that this is, I mean, even, it is very inexpensive. So I'm kind of teetering on like, it's just so inexpensive, whatever. But truthfully, this really should cost a little bit less. I'm not feeling the price. 20 to 25 bucks. I mean, I know it's like 15 bucks less, right? Everything could be 15 bucks less. 15 to 20 bucks less, I'd be like, yeah, you know, whatever. It's a thing that's got a blade on it and you probably can't break it. So why not, you know? But 40 bucks, a little bit high. Not something that I am honestly going to be able to recommend to everybody, but it's still made well. Like if you're into neck knives and you like how this looks, yeah, it's made well. It's definitely going to do what you expect it to do from an EDC standpoint. I have no idea whether or not it performs well in any other territory, right? So I am going to go ahead and include this in my fixed blade knife reviews because that's technically what it is. Not my favorite thing of all time and not totally the most recommendable thing. But again, if you want to pick this up, there are links down in the description. It's cool. I mean, it's definitely cool. I picked this. Oh, neat. It's a little knife that's, it fits in my hand really nice. You know, ergonomics are great. It looks nice. It's made well. It's made out of a good blade steel, but and the sheath is nice. You know, I don't 100% trust the chain, but it could be said of any neck knife, I suppose. I think that's going to be pretty much it, guys. This is interesting, but it doesn't really go beyond that for me. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like. If you'd like to check out my other content, I do, of course, have lots of videos of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do or don't like. So check those out. And if you enjoy all my content, go ahead and click on this metal complex logo right here and make sure your notifications are set to all because there's definitely more coming. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and have a great day.